Greetings, YouTube. Those that have watched my channel for a while know that I am pro-worker and anti-corporate. I am essentially a socialist. I believe that a strong, organized labor in America is the foundation of a strong middle class. And in a time in our past when we had strong labor and good controls on corporate America, or better controls I should say, particularly the financial sector, our economy was doing much better, the middle class was strong, and the 1% were kept in check. And now that many of those controls are gone, the 1% are running rampant, the middle class is vastly shrinking, and the poor are swelling. The American workers are having their wealth stolen from them and passed on to the wealthy. So I'm going to be talking about an excerpt from a larger New York Times piece. And this is a section that deals with wage theft. And it's interesting. It says, in a single week, nearly 2/3 of low-paid workers had, on average, 15% of their wages pay stolen by their employers. In addition, the sums far greater than combined total stolen in all the bank robberies, gas station robberies, and convenience store robberies in the country. So in a year, the wages stolen from employees by their employers is greater than all of the traditional ways that we think of theft, which is quite intriguing. In 2012, liberal legislators in Miami-Dade County decided to take matters into their own hands. They passed an anti-wage theft ordinance resulting in more than 600 prosecutions and $1.7 million recovered in stolen pay in the first year alone. Miami-Dade's success inspired Broward and Palm Beach counties to propose similar measures. In response, Republican legislators in Tallahassee tried to pass a bill that would prohibit any county, municipality, or a political subdivision of the state from enacting laws, rules, ordinances, or regulations for the purposes of addressing wage theft. They failed, so they tried again. This time, the bill passed Florida House, but failed in the Senate. While conservatives often styled themselves as the champions of local control, Ronald Reagan called for a government with as much law and decision-making authority as possible kept at the local level. The Florida example suggests that they have no compunction about sacrificing the principles when it threatens business interests. And that's what it all boils down to, folks. That big business wants to make sure that not only do they pay employees as little as possible, they fight minimum wage laws at every turn, but to make sure that they continue to have the ability to steal from employees. Now, one example of this are undocumented workers. Now, undocumented workers who work for farms picking vegetables, I'll give you an example here, should receive minimum wage. And the way the system used to work is that they would get paid per item picked. So you'd pick X amount per hour, and you get paid X amount per hour, or Y per hour. But if they picked more than the minimum wage, they would get paid more than the minimum wage. So you could actually, if you were a hard worker, you could pick more vegetables or fruit than minimum wage and make a better living. So the farmers changed the rules so that the piece count, the amount per piece was so low that even the best workers could not make minimum wage. But it's called minimum wage for a reason. Those workers, even if they did not make the minimum wage rate per hour of, so what is it, $7.25? They should have received $7.25. But because they don't know this, they don't understand how the laws work, the workers' rights laws that we still have left in America, they get cheated out of their pay. So they're breaking their backs, picking as much fruit and vegetables for your table as possible, and getting less than minimum wage. They're being stolen from. And this happens every day in America. There are restaurants that steal tips from employees who get paid less than the minimum wage because they're supposed to receive those tips as compensation. Stealing from employees has become a business practice for companies in some ways, and we should fight that at every turn. And the people championing these efforts to steal wages and prevent them from being stopped from stealing wages from employees are, of course, the GOP and their allies, the Tea Party and the Libertarians, who all worship the 1% as their true god, or gods, I should say. And It's distressing. We need strong labor in America. Now, you have to remember that while I support unions, I see unions as something that we shouldn't have to have. If the United States government, state, local, and all the governments in question in the United States protected workers' rights and took care of the workers, we wouldn't need unions. But unions are an example of how the government has failed miserably, because the government is all about protecting business interests, and they could care less about the citizens. The 99 are the ones that earn the wealth in America, folks. We deserve to share in it. We create it, we should share in it. We should make sure that our politicians are not helping the corporations to rob from us and prevent us from getting what we so richly deserve, because we, the people, created that wealth.